Yo, it's good. It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. These Detroit Pistons continue to experience growing pains as they continue to try to figure out their continuity and chemistry over seemingly an ever-fluctuating roster. I want to dive into that in this video. Bear with me, y'all, because I actually went back and rewatched this Atlanta game, and man, it was tough because they were right there despite all the turnovers, despite the lack of continuity on the team, despite the really poor performance by Cade Cunningham. It was just rough to see it end the way it did. But let me start off with some of the positive. Once again, Asar Thompson, yo, let me just be clear, yo. Like, if there is one positive that we can pull away from this season, even if, they can lose every single game from this point on. I'm not really saying that being a little facetious, but they could lose every single game this point on and still walk away with, yo, you have Asar Thompson. Asar Thompson is the NBA's version of the NFL's Darrelle Revis, right? Like a defensive back, a defensive player whom you just stay away from. You just don't try it with him. You just don't. And it didn't matter who was going at him. Jalen Johnson, DeJounte Murray maybe got one basket on him. He had a little, push off with the elbow and got some space in the mid-range. He was just locking down everybody, frustrating the hell out of whoever wanted to test him. And at this point, I don't even know why teams test him. He's officially, to me, gone into that Jaden McDaniels, Kawhi Leonard, what's the brother from the New Orleans Pelicans? He was a rookie last year. You all know who I'm talking about, though, right? These dudes, these select guys, you just don't do it. Like, it's not to say you can't score against them. It's not to say that there's somebody who will just 100% of the time stop you, but they're in that top 5 of you gonna miss far more times than you will make against them. Matter of fact, you might get your shot ate up, blocked. You might get ripped, the ball stolen, knocked away, deflected, and you're gonna look bad because not only is he quick, not only does he have great anticipation, not only does he have great hands, he's extremely naturally strong. And this is where kind of that Kawhi Leonard comparison comes in, because you don't have too many players at his age coming in with that level of grown man strength to be able to body up on a defender and utilize both his hands to be active against the dribble, passing lanes, and pull-up jump shot. Not only that, but his anticipation and his ability to recover is just so incredible. It's like even when you think you have him beat, he recovers so fast and gets right back in front of you with those quick feet. Strong body, wingspan at 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's just, and then you add in the 38-inch, almost 40-inch vertical, and he's quick off his feet. It's not going to be a good day for you. And so most of the time, you just have to get a screen like everybody else and get someone else switched on to you and make life easier. To have one of those guys is not just a feather in the cap for your team, but it's something that you're able to build a defense around. And this is where I want to get to the other side of things. Not the other side of things yet. I'll stick with the good things. The defense is legit. That starting lineup defense, or let me backtrack a little bit. Not the starting lineup. Marvin Bagley III is a paperweight on defense. He's a cone. He's trying to figure out his life in terms of where to be, but he just doesn't have the requisite physicality, anticipation, defensive IQ, or even the acumen to really be a plus defensive player. But the other 4, and especially when Jalen Duren is in that starting lineup, are amazing on defense. They are great, built around Asar Thompson, built with Isaiah Stewart and his footwork, strength, physicality, anticipation, his length. Their communication is great. You've got guys like Killian Hayes, excellent perimeter defender, great point of attack defender, along with Asar. They really get into you, create turnovers, disrupt your offense and passing lanes, and it's just wonderful to see. Cade Cunningham falls in line. We're even beginning to see Jaden Ivey begin to fall in line because he's seeing this consistent product on the court, getting minutes ahead of him. And Marcus Sasser, who's just a dog on defense, great point of attack defender, great at getting up under you. The defense is legit. And that's something that the Detroit Pistons can hang their hat on and really take away from this early part of the season. Probably last to say about that is that when they get Jalen Duren back, I think it's going to make a huge difference. It's going to make a huge difference. And it's rough to see Marvin Bagley III constantly kind of be this weak link on defense because you see the rotations happening, you see the physicality, you see the anticipation, guys are in the passing lanes, digging down, help defense, hedging, recovering, hard pressing off of pick and rolls. It looks great, and then it gets to him, and then he gets beat or doesn't get the defensive rebound. And that's really hard to see. But let's get to some of the other areas that I definitely see there's a need for improvement. And I know that a lot of this is going to improve when you get, Bojan Bogdanovic back, when you get Monty Morris in the lineup, as Alec Burks continues to work his way back into game shape and be reinserted into his regular minutes. It's going to help balance things out. But you continue to see inconsistency from Cade Cunningham, and that is concerning. It was something that I pointed out even during the Rico Hines run, where I said that there looked to be an issue with Cade Cunningham's handle, that shorter, quicker players seem to be able to get underneath him and bother his handle and really just rip the ball from him. He gets a little passive with his offensive aggression and getting downhill. And once he slows down, I don't know if it's a footwork thing or needing to understand how to use his body a little bit better to shield that ball off, much in the way that Luka Doncic does. But then I would also say that Luka does a great job of always staying in that attack mode, always staying in that kind of downhill posture that keeps defenders off of him, keeps them honest, because they know the moment that they try to get up under him, he's just going. He's gone. He's gone. He's going to give you that shoulder, get you on his hip, and he's headed to the rim. And he's a great finisher, makes great decisions, and it's bad for you. And so that's something that Cade Cunningham doesn't seem to have figured out yet, is how to remain in attack mode. Not only that, but he seemed to not be able to get to his shots against the Atlanta Hawks throughout this game. One of the shots that he's already elite at, came into the NBA elite at, is running that pick and roll and pulling up from right around that free throw line. And the Atlanta Hawks did an excellent job of forcing him to those sidelines and to the baseline, forcing him to play facilitator and not be able to get downhill towards the rim. And that was something that really kept Cade Cunningham from getting into this game altogether. And that was tough because you can imagine if he just gives us a basic, 22 on decent shooting, which I think all of us believe he's more than capable of, they win this game. Plain and simple. Asar Thompson had a great game, definitely on both ends. His offense was there today. He was taking quality shots, getting into the paint, and for those little spin pull-ups and up and unders, and diving in off the ball and catching baseline for dunks and dump-offs. Even Marvin Bagley III was able to give you a good amount of offense. Isaiah Stewart wasn't able to get to his shooting. It just wasn't dropping tonight, but he's more than shown that he's capable. And then Killian Hayes, once again, strong performance offensively and on the defensive end, and took care of the ball for the most part. And so this team, the Detroit Pistons, were in the game, and Cade Cunningham just never showed up to the show. He never made it. Didn't get on the bus. He stayed somewhere back at a hotel. I don't know. But he was not here today or last night. And his team definitely missed him. Even James Wiseman contributed. Marcus Sasser didn't get a lot of minutes, but looked solid. And Kevin Knox. Shout out to Kevin Knox, who has figured out a way to extend his career, extend opportunities for himself. And at 6'9", has that sharpshooter type of ability. I think he's developing into that Trevor Ariza type of a mold. But this is a team that should have had this game. I do have to critique Monty Williams. What were you thinking pulling out Asar Thompson at the end of the fourth quarter? That just made absolutely no sense. He was the best player on the court for you the entire game, next to Killian Hayes. And you pull him out in that last minute and change when the game is tied. I thought that made a huge difference on defense when you needed to make a stop. Your best defender was Cade Cunningham, and he was getting scored on. And then your offense, it looked like you tried to put in more shooting with Jaden Ivey and Alec Burks around Cade Cunningham, but it didn't matter because the decision-making by Jaden Ivey was just terrible. He got tunnel vision and, not throwing sharp, accurate passes. And then you have Cade Cunningham's lackluster performance. I don't want to say lackluster, but just not there. He wasn't in rhythm. Matter of fact, I would have been more okay with you sitting Cade, and going with the Alec Burks and even Jaden Ivey. But I would have just had Cade, Asar, and Burks, right? You stay big, create more opportunities for yourself defensively, and then maybe you try to get out in transition scoring with steals, turnovers, and rebounds. I thought that was a miscalculation by Monty Williams. But all in all, I think this was a good game because you still see the growth. And I think that this is where a lot of us have to continue to land, is that this season is not about making the playoffs. And for those of you who are judging this season by wins and losses, much like last season, you are going to be disappointed and you'll miss what's really taking place. You have what we hope to be the franchise guy in Cade Cunningham. You have an extremely promising potential star, at least on the defensive end, in Asar Thompson, and Jalen Duren, potential starting center of the future. And then you have fill-in guys that you're trying to figure out who is going to fit best around that core. And Jaden Ivey is still looking promising. He's starting to get more engaged outside of just waiting to get the ball and trying to score. He's playing better defense, helping out, getting on the offensive glass. I didn't like after I saw Asar's big dunk against Clint Capella. You see the whole bench jump up, and then you see Jaden Ivey and James Wiseman look disengaged or as if they couldn't cheer for their teammate. And that was an amazing dunk. And you just saw no energy from them. And I don't know if they're dealing with their own personal stuff, but that was not a good look to see on television rewatching this game. It reminds me of guys who are in their head and focused on themselves and not the team. And I get it. You guys are trying to prove yourself, but don't forget, this is a team sport. And so these are some of the things that I definitely see from this team so far. I thought this was a game that they could have won. I'm not going to say should have, because Atlanta just has more shot makers and they know who they are. And so you're going to see a different quality of play. But they were right there. They were right there. And I think that they should have kept in Asar, and that would have given them an opportunity. When they get back Jalen Duren, I think things will be really good for them. I think it's really hard for a coach like Monty Williams to have to juggle playing so many young guys. That's just not easy to do. It's really tough to play this many young guys with this many sets of expectations, and it's just really tough because each guy is going to have growing pains, and that's just going to lead to completely inconsistent play, no matter what lineup that you roll out there. But I would like to see him settle into a closing lineup. Something along the lines of like Killian Hayes, Asar Thompson, Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, and then another high IQ guy. Whether it's Bogdanovich, whether it's Alec Burks, whether it's Marcus Sasser, I want to see at least high IQ on the court in closing time. and that'll give you your best chance to win. But as always, I want to know what you all think about this game. What do you think about the progress, the lack of progress that you're seeing from this team? Get at me in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Peace.